subscribe, support, stay positive. Okay, this is the Swannanoa Museum here in Black Mountain. It has a little bit of history of Black Mountain. Let's go in here. Little doggy. These are the ancestors right here. This is they are working on a grant to build more to the museum onto it, and this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. These are listed names.
And then later they were handed down to the second hand from the school.
This is Black Mountain right here, and over there is Swannanoa. So this is where I'm standing, and so this is basically Black Mountain and Swannanoa. We're surrounded by the hills, just to let you know that. So all in this area, this is all Black Mountain, and out there is Asheville. This is Asheville out here, and here's some more interesting facts. I didn't live here when this happened. This factory burnt down to the ground, but I didn't live in this town at that time when this happened. Actually, believe it or not, this distillery was brought here because two men were illegally making moonshine here in North Carolina, and in order to pay their debt, because they couldn't pay it, they ended up just giving them the distillery to this museum because they could not pay their debt.
for many, many years, there was not much going on here at that time. And eventually, after the Revolutionary War, the settlers really wanted to come in. But the government said to them, don't go through the gap over into the valley, because the Native Americans fought with the British. And it's never good to be with the losers. And they were pretty upset. However, down here at Old Fort, which was then called Fort Davidson, there were twin brothers, Sam and Will. Sam brought his wife and a servant girl and a small baby over, and they settled on the bases of Jones Mountain and on the side of Christian Creek, which I have been told is just about in this area right here. And they were there for long enough for him to build a cabin. Now, I do not know how a man by himself with an axe and a saw and a hammer builds a cabin. And they didn't have to. She had to be a hard worker. But they did. And he would put a bell on his horse at night. The horse would graze, and the next morning he would follow the bell, the sound of the bell, to get his horse. Well, one morning he went out, and his wife heard a gunshot. And she looked up, and his gun was in the cabin. So she knew she was in big trouble. So she and the servant girl and the young child found their way back to Old Fort through these mountains, avoiding all familiar trails. And I am in awe of anyone who can do that. She told his brother Sam what had happened, and Sam immediately organized a hunting party, and they came over and, Will organized the hunting party and came over and found Sam's body and buried it, and killed some Indians too, I'm sure. Maybe not even the right ones. But after that, here came the settlers. Now, you can imagine that this was a really hard scrabble kind of life. I mean, it was a 1790s, 80s and 90s. They had what they could do themselves, and that was just it. Not much happened here until the railroad came through, and that was right after the Civil War. So I think it's easy to remember those two dates, Revolutionary War and Civil War. After the Civil War, they got the railroad all the way through to Asheville, and I usually bring people over here to see one of those people who came up on the railroad, looked around and saw our beautiful valley with its good supply of water and obviously a good workforce, and he moved his manufacturing company down the back.
Well, folks, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you a little bit later.